Okay, so here we go. We are now on item number 2. We talked a little bit about an intro to what does GDPR really mean for human resources data. We did an intro. We did the first segment on notice and consent and legitimacy, and now we're to the all-important segment on information technology performance standards. So embedded within GDPR, there are a bundle of rights that are conferred upon employees and job applicants and other data subjects to do things such as request access to their data, to direct you to delete their data, to object to certain processing of data. And these things are going to bring on what we call information technology performance standards or requirements that are going to need to be met with respect to the key databases and applications that you use to manage and store employee data. A lot of this may fall between technical performance standards versus policy and procedure. So, for example, if you look at the right to access, when they ask for the right to access their data, what does that mean? Not only will they be able to get a copy of most of their data, and I'll come back to that in a second, and see what data you have and have a chance to direct you to correct it if it's incorrect. But they also will get to learn information such as the sources of the data that you have about them. If it wasn't from them directly, did you go to recruiting agencies? Did you get data from background check providers, et cetera? Where is this data coming from? They'll also get to learn to whom did you disclose the data and where are those parties located. So there's a range of information that will need to go into those reports on access back to them, and you're going to need to be ready for that. And how are you going to be able to display that information and, of course, handle any kind of corrections that come from it. Should note that there will be exceptions under local laws for when you don't have to provide access. So generally speaking, you will not need to provide access if it could interfere with an ongoing investigation, or you might have data about other parties mingled with the data that you have about them. You may be able to redact. So there'll be some exceptions to having to provide access. But you see there's an interplay between what's needed from an information technology perspective as well as from a policy procedure perspective. Similarly, this right to be forgotten, gee, we've heard about it. We think that's just something for search engines. Well, no, there still are rights to be able to direct you to delete information, and it's not an unqualified right. You can keep data so long as you need it for a regulatory requirement, or you need it to perform the employment contract, or for defense of the company, et cetera. But you're going to need to be ready. Your information technology systems are going to need to be ready to be able to delete information at the direction, to a certain extent, of the employees when they raise the issues. And lastly, you're going to have an overarching requirement that you really only keep data as long as you need it for the legitimate purposes that you have the data for. So you're going to have to be thinking about all of your key systems. How are we going to roll data off? It used to be, gee, we could stuff things in backup tapes and have them be stored forever and just use them if we ever need them. Well, no, not anymore. You're going to have to get to a spot where information is securely deleted when it's no longer actually needed. And that may be all of these things may require some significant sea changes either within your information technology within the company or with any third party with whom you are engaging to support the human resources functions. So there's a vendor layer to this as well.